3 days, 51,000 casualties, one small town in Pennsylvania. What happened in Gettysburg didn't just change a battle, it changed the entire future of the United States. If the Confederacy had won here, America today might look completely different. So how did 3 brutal days in July 1863 turn the tide of the Civil War forever? Let's break it down. Intro context. By the summer of 1863, the Civil War had already been raging for 2 bloody years. The Confederacy, led by General Robert E. Lee, was riding high after major victories. Lee believed it was time to take the war north, onto Union soil. His goal, invade Pennsylvania, threaten major cities like Harrisburg, maybe even Washington, force the North to negotiate peace. Meanwhile, the Union Army had a new commander, General George G. Meade, a man who had only been in charge for 3 days. No pressure, right? The battle begins. On July 1st, 1863, Confederate and Union soldiers unexpectedly collided in the quiet town of Gettysburg. What started as a small skirmish exploded into a full-scale battle. The Confederates pushed Union forces back through town. It looked like another Southern victory was coming. But the Union troops regrouped on higher ground, Cemetery Hill, Culp's Hill, and a rocky position called Little Round Top, and that high ground would change everything. Day 2 was chaos. Lee ordered massive assaults on the Union flanks. Fighting was brutal, especially at Little Round Top, where Union soldiers barely held the line. If that hill had fallen, the Union Army could have collapsed, but it didn't. Against overwhelming odds, Union forces held strong. The battle was slipping from Lee's control. Day 3, Pickett's charge. Then came the moment that sealed history, July 3rd. Lee ordered a direct assault on the center of the Union line, a move we now call Pickett's charge. Nearly 12,500 Confederate soldiers marched across open fields, straight into heavy Union artillery and rifle fire. It was devastating. Within an hour, thousands were dead or wounded. The charge failed, and with it, the South's best chance to win the war on Northern soil. Why Gettysburg changed the war. 4. Here's why Gettysburg was the turning point. Lee's first major defeat in the North. The myth of Confederate invincibility was shattered. Massive casualties. Around 51,000 soldiers were killed, wounded, or missing, making it the bloodiest battle in American history. The Confederacy never recovered. After Gettysburg, Lee was forced into a defensive strategy for the rest of the war. It boosted Northern morale. The Union finally had a decisive victory at the same time they captured Vicksburg in the West. From that point forward, momentum shifted. The South was no longer advancing. They were surviving. The aftermath, Lincoln's speech. Months later, President Abraham Lincoln stood on that battlefield to dedicate a cemetery. In just 272 words, he delivered the Gettysburg Address, "Government of the people, by the people, for the people." That speech reframed the war. It wasn't just about preserving the Union anymore. It was about freedom, equality, a new birth of liberty. Conclusion: Gettysburg didn't end the Civil War, but it ended the South's hope of winning it. From that moment on, the Confederacy was slowly pushed back, until finally surrendering at Appomattox Courthouse in 1865. 3 days, one battlefield, a nation forever changed. If Gettysburg had gone differently, the United States might not exist as we know it, and that's how the Battle of Gettysburg changed the Civil War forever. If you'd like, I can also add cinematic background music cues, add B-roll suggestions for editing, create a short/reels version, under 60 seconds,